Hey everyone, it's Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Minnie.
And today, it's February 9th. We're on pages 22 and 23 in our magazine. And oh yeah, it's the composition article.
Yay! Okay, so 我们今天2月9号在22、23页。那今天我们很兴奋哦，因为我们今天要来看图写作啊。
It's everybody's favorite part of school. Our title today is Fair or Unfair, Honesty is the best policy.
我很喜欢这个主题，它叫做公平与否 ，fair 是公平 ，unfair 不公平嘛。那诚实 honesty 为上。
Yeah, I think this is something that everybody knows, that when something is unfair, it feels really, really bad. And I think everybody understands being unfair is pretty uncool. So we have a story based on 3 pictures, and number 4 has a big question mark. So you need to write the end. But as always, when we do the composition article, we're going to teach you how to prepare for this in advance.
我们在做这个写作的时候，你可以看到我们会有3张图片，一张是一个问号，要你自己去发想你自己的结果要怎么样。那我们要怎么样做这个大题呢？
All right, so before we begin paragraph 1, 2, and 3, and before we look at our pictures, we need to think, what can we do before our test day to do a better job?
所以在我们在做这个大题以前，我们要先来做一个事前准备。我们在考试以前要怎么样先准备好这个大题呢？
So we know that this is a story, and stories in English are almost always in the past tense. So we know there are a lot of things we can practice.
那因为我们在写故事的时候，大部分的时态我们会选择用过去式。那我们要用过去式写文章，我们有很多东西可以做练习。
So that's right. Number 1, we can practice our simple past tense, both our regular and our irregular verbs. And don't forget, a regular verb is just a verb with ed.
那在这边呢，我们可以先使用的是简单过去式要记得过去式有分成规律的变化跟不规则的变化。那规则的变化很简单，就是过去式都加 ed。
Now, another important grammar to practice is the past continuous tense. That's was, were, ing.
那另外一个很重要的时态就叫过去进行式，也就是 be 动词加上 ing 的这种正在进行的形式。
And 2 more that we use a little less, but we will see today, is the past passive. We have 被动语态, and we also have the past perfect tense. That's had plus the past participle.
那我们这边还可以想到另外2个我们常用到的文法，就是被动语态，还有我们所谓的完成式。
So another important key thing to remember is don't be afraid if you can't think of the exact sentence you want to say. There's a lot of times when I'm speaking Chinese and I know what I want to say, but sometimes my Chinese just isn't good enough. So I just stop and I think of a second way to say the same thing, and the person understands me. You can do that too.
那最后一个最重要的 Chris 老师要特别提醒大家，就是不要害怕，如果你没有办法讲出你原本想要讲的句子，你还是可以换句话说，让别人知道你的意思。语言就是这么好玩，别人只要懂你，你讲的就是对的。
All right, so we got 4 pictures here, and we can see picture 1, it's New Year's, and mom wants to give big brother a red envelope. And number 2, the money is a little bit uneven. The sister gets less money than the brother, so she steals the money. And then number 3, the boy cries and tells mom his money was stolen. And then number 4, this is the big question mark. And we'll find out what our story says today. And I want you to think, how would you end this story?
那在这边我们可以看到4个图片，图1大部分就是在讲，我们这边可以看到说新年要到了，这个小孩的妈妈给他跟哥哥一个红包。那图2呢，因为2个人的红包价钱可能不一样，钱比较少，那妹妹就趁哥哥睡着的时候，然后偷拿哥哥的钱。图3呢，可以很清楚看到哥哥跑去跟妈妈哭诉说，我的钱被偷了。那最后的大结局呢，那你们会怎么去写它呢？
All right, let's begin paragraph 1. Sentence 1 begins, the Lunar New Year was just around the corner. So Bella's mom prepared 2 red envelopes or envelopes for her and her brother.
那我们第一个句子可以看到around the corner 就是在角落的意思，其实就是即将到来，所以农历新年近在眼前，所以呢 Bella 的妈妈准备了2个红包，一个给她，一个给她的哥哥。
So just around the corner is something I also underlined, and I tried to think of a different way to say this. I know when I teach this to my students, they kind of forget it, and it's something I have to remind them. Just around the corner means a few days away. If you can't think of how to say this, you could just say next week. It's okay.
那我跟 Chris 老师很有默契了，画底线都画在这个 just around the corner。那老师刚刚有讲，除了 just around the corner， 你忘记怎么说也没关系，你也可以说just in a few days， 在几天后就到了，也是一样的意思。
And today, because we're talking about Chinese New Year, and of course we're going to talk about hongbao, you need to know how to spell envelope. But to be fair, that is a tricky word. So if you had to be tricky and you don't remember how to say this, you don't get scared, you don't get nervous. You could just say, Mom prepared 2 gifts for her and her brother. But honestly, red envelope is a pretty common word in English when we're talking about Chinese culture.Probably should know this.
那我们今天主题讲到农历新年，很重要就是你一定会提到红包。你有可能不知道 envelope 这个字怎么拼，没有关系。如果你真的要找个替代字，或许你可以讲新年礼物啊 New Year gift 之类。但是这边要提醒大家，有一些关键字能够写出来，当然还是最好。
Did your parents take your red envelope from you, or did they let you spend it?
They let me spend it.
Wow, what kind parents.
I
So
know.
many of my students are like, my mom took my red envelope.
I know.
Terrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. To Bella's disappointment, she found out that she received less money than her brother did.
那在这边我们可以看到开头他说 to Bella's disappointment， 那就是令 Bella 失望的是，她发现她拿到的钱比哥哥拿到的还要少。
So Bella was disappointed when she found out she got less money than her brother. That's fine too. Our next sentence says, feeling this was unfair, she came up with a plan.
那感觉这样很不公平哦，所以 Bella 她就想出了一个 plan， 一个计划。
Now, this is pretty brave of the writer here because I wrote number 1 and 2 next to this paragraph. The writer used almost all of Picture 1 and Picture 2 in about 4 sentences. Normally, you probably want to add about 3, 4, 5 sentences per picture, but we'll see later that the writer uses more time to explain Picture 3 and Picture 4.
老师刚刚说，他觉得这个作家蛮勇敢的，因为通常一段5个句子差不多，可是这个作家一段3个句子结束了，就包含有点第1跟第2张图。
But it works. We'll see later on. Let's check out paragraph 2. Late at night, Bella snuck into her brother's room while he was sound asleep.
那在深夜时分 Bella 趁着他哥哥熟睡的时候溜进了他的房间。这边我们可以看到 snuck into 那个 S-N-U-C-K snuck 其实就是 S-N-E-A-K sneak 的过去式。
That's right. You're going to see a lot of regular verbs and irregular verbs today. Great practice and something you should be ready for when you need to write compositions.
没错。
Now, sound asleep is a great phrase. When we're sound asleep, that means we're sleeping very deeply. We wouldn't wake up easily. Are you a sound sleeper, Minnie?
I am.
Me too. When I was in 9th grade, my house was robbed. Our school had a day off because there was a problem at my school, and someone robbed my house, and I slept through it.
Oh my God.
The person opened my room, and I saw the thief. Like they had been in the house for a long time and stole a bunch of stuff. But I am a sound sleeper. I sleep deeply. They didn't wake me up.
小偷来老师都睡得着，应该是蛮好睡的。
Let's continue. She reached for the red envelope on the side table, took the money, and crept out the door with joy.
很有画面的一个句子哦。他伸出手拿那个放在床头柜的红包，拿了钱之后就很开心的溜出了房间。
I like that he keeps his red envelope on the table like he was counting it just before bed.
Yeah.
So when we creep or when we crept past tense, that means we walk quietly so no one will see or hear you. Think of like how a caterpillar, a mamaotong, or a bug walks. We usually will call them creepy, crawlies. They creep, they walk slowly, and a little bit disgustingly almost.
所以 crept creep 这个字是 creep 的过去式。那有时候我们说，这个人很 creepy， 就感觉好像他好像在偷看偷窥，然后很安静，然后很诡异这样子，就有这种感觉。
Yeah, sometimes there are creepy people, and you feel uncomfortable when you see them. That's a great use of it.
Yeah.
Our next sentence says, little did she know that someone had seen her leaving the room.
最近很流行这个 Little did she know 这样的开头，因为好像有一首歌的歌词有出现哦。那当时的他还不知道，就是有人看到他离开那个房间。
Now, when we say little did she know, make sure you don't say a little did she know. Write A and cross that out. That is not correct.
Little did she know 这边要注意 little 前面不加哦，很多小朋友误用，要特别注意。
Now, when we say little did she know, we really just mean she didn't know that someone had seen her. Please pick up your highlighter. Pick up that highlighter and highlight had seen her leaving.
这边拿起你的 highlighter 你的荧光笔 had seen leaving 赶快给它画起来。
This is the past perfect tense. 过去完成式. Remember that the past perfect tense is the past tense of the past tense. 这是你的过去式的过去. That's right. We're going to have another regular past tense sentence to pair with this. And that's why we have that first sentence. Little did she know. That's just a regular past tense sentence. Then we had seen her leaving. This happened first. She left, and then later she discovers, 之后才发现 someone saw her.
所以这个句子我们前半部的句子，后面发生的句子，我们用一般的过去式。最刚开始发生第一个主要的句子，我们会用过去完成式来写。
Now, be careful when we use the past perfect tense. Remember that usually there's an important relationship between the two verbs. Like, if you're just talking about the vacation you went on last year and you tell me about the fun things you did, you usually won't use the past perfect tense. You're just like, oh, we went to Japan. We went to Disney World. We saw Mount Fuji. The food was delicious. You just talk about the fun things when you think of them. You don't say A and then 然后 B and then 然后 C like it was like a diary. That's not how we use it. There's always an important relationship between the two verbs in the past perfect tense.
所以老师刚刚讲的这个，你在写句子，那个句子的流畅性就很重要。我们用不一样的文法，就是让这个流畅性可以持续，才不会变成断句。
Okay, now we're finishing picture number 3 here, and we're going to go into picture number 4. But before we do that, we're going to take a short break. I want you to think, how would you finish this story? And when we come back, we'll find out how. All right, we're back with more Enjoy English School. We are on our composition article on pages 22 and 23. We're about to begin picture number 4, and I asked you, how would you solve this story? Minnie, what are you thinking?
I think it has to be a happy ending.
It has to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll find out, and I'll tell you what I think a little later. Let's see what happens here. The next day, Bella's brother found someone had stolen his money.
所以呢，隔天啊 Bella 的哥哥就发现，有人偷了他的钱。
So remember, it was on his side table. Like he counts it before bed, and he like kisses his money.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and he counts
Count
it
it again. 起床第一件事数钱，睡前数钱，起床再数一次，被偷了。
Yeah, what little kids, they like to count their money, don't they?
I'm not allowed to.
Really?
Because my parents say money is really dirty.
When I was a kid, I liked to count the money in my piggy bank. I really liked counting it. Okay, let's continue. He went to his mom with tears in his eyes and told her about the situation.
Tears 这边是眼泪哦，所以他呢泪眼汪汪的去找妈妈，然后告诉他这个情况，钱被偷了。
Underline with tears in his eyes and just write, he was crying. He went to his mom. He was crying.
所以可以写下来 He was crying 很简单的方法就代表他在哭他眼里有泪就是他在哭
Our next sentence begins, afterwards, Bella's mother asked her whether she was the one who did it because she had seen Bella leaving her brother's room.
所以呢之后 Bella 的妈妈就问 Bella 是不是她做的因为其实妈妈有看到 Bella 离开她哥哥的房间
And of course we have another past perfect tense here, so there's that relationship. Did you steal the money? Because I saw you earlier. So our second verb can become had seen.
所以我们再讲一个过去我们刚刚老师有讲吗我们过去的时间你是不是你偷的问他这件事情因为我有看到所以第二个这个过去的时间我们就用 had seen 完成式的方法来写
And of course we use leaving because we have see, saw, seen plus a V-I-N-G. Busa was leaving.
所以我们这边有看到 see, saw, seen 它是感官动词所以后面用 leaving
Next sentence says, feeling guilty, Bella apologized to her brother and returned the money. Well, that's very kind of her.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? 所以这边 guilty 叫做愧疚，因为感到愧疚，所以 Bella 呢就跟她的哥哥道歉，然后把他钱还给他。
So she felt bad and said sorry. Later that night, Bella's mother secretly went into her room and slid money in her red envelope as an apology for not giving her the same amount of money as her brother for the Lunar New Year.
那一个晚上稍晚的时候 Bella 的妈妈就偷偷的进了 Bella 的房间然后把钱呢塞进她的红包里面表达歉意因为她新年的时候没有给她和哥哥相同数目的钱 I think this mom is too careless.
I wrote something about this too. Please tell me more.
I mean, like, how could you be, like, 偏心, you know?
Right. So I wrote personally, this family has too many secrets.
Yeah.
There are way too many secrets in this family. So for me, I think personally, I feel quite strongly about this, that people are very afraid to be wrong. And something I talk about in my classroom all the time is that everyone is going to be wrong. And even me. When I speak Chinese, I make mistakes. I flip words. My pronunciation is wrong. I've said bad words. I've sworn in my classroom accidentally a few times. The word for grandma always messes me up. I sound like a crazy person. And it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to say sorry. For me, if I was the mom, I would say, you know what? I think you're right, Bella. I should not have done that. I think it's not fair that I gave you less money. So I'm going to give you the money to make that mistake and then maybe do a little extra so brother doesn't feel weird here. We'll go get ice cream. Because I think it's important for mom and dad to set that example, that it's okay to be wrong sometimes and to be honest. We don't need to sneak.
Yeah, 老师说不要害怕犯错。这个妈妈还偷偷把钱放到那个钱袋里面干嘛呢？就很直接的跟小朋友讲说妈妈做错了。其实也是一个很文明的决定啊，对不对？
Yeah, I don't know if I would sneak into the room and give her the money.
That is too creepy.
But what if Bella is like 5 years old? And the older brother is like 15. Would you give a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old the same amount of money?
I think I still have to. Unless I started to give my 15-year-old son when he was 5, I started to already, gave him money.
I think there's reasons to give some kids more money than others. But I think if your kids are almost the same age, like my sister is just a year younger, we probably should get the same money. I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for the article. But we're going to jump into our vocab review. Our first word today is an adjective, unfair.
Unfair, 不公平的。
Next, we have a phrase, to somebody's disappointment.
令某人感到很失望的。
And number 3, another phrase we used a lot, to sneak into somebody's room or into some place.
那就代表你偷偷溜进什么地方或什么人的房间。
To be sound asleep.
第4个呢，就是代表你熟睡，我们就会说 sound asleep.
Number 5, with tears in his eyes, or just a tear.
那这边呢 第5个 tear 就是眼泪的意思啊，我们可以用 a tear， 我们也可以说 tears。Number
6, my math is really bad today.
It's okay.
Is it number 6?
Yes.
We have an adjective, guilty.
Yeah, 第6个是我们的形容词 guilty， 就代表你感到很愧疚。
Next, our verb to apologize.
Apologize 是我们的动词道歉。
Another verb to slide.
这边的动词有点像是溜滑梯的溜啊，这边就是偷放，我们用 slide S-L-I-D-E， 我们这边用过去式 slid S-L-I-D。And
lastly, we have the noun form of the verb to apologize. Our word is an apology.
那我们刚刚有看到动词是 apologize， 我们这边看到名词 apology 也是道歉。
And that's all the time we have for today, but we will be back next time for Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Minnie.
We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.